Time, I think Badim Sagdoan.
Wasn't it Gidabin who shot that last one? Gidabin should have 4 points.
That's right, PBA fans. The PBA games today coming your way slightly more than 5 minutes late of playing time. And the reason for this was that an earlier event went into overtime, and consequently the other programs of Channel 4 also had to suffer the multiplier effects. But let me report to you that Tanduay is looking good. Here is what has happened during the past 5 minutes. The first basket that came from Mon Fernandez, that was tied with the first blood of Magnolia coming from Kidabin, and then they posted, Tanduay Rum Makers meaning, went into a 10-0 blast. Right now with 6 minutes and 23 to go here in the first quarter, the score is 16 for Tanduay and 8 for Magnolia Ice Cream. That is our first game. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Pingo Pengson reporting to you together with Waki Trillo, and we have 2 games for you. It is Tanduay Rum Makers, the first one against Magnolia, and the second game will be Ginebra San Miguel. Right now with a 1-2 standing, looking for its second win, battling the leader of the league, Great Taste. And that'll be coming your way at about 7:15, right after Channel 4's early news report. And Waki, I think the big question here in the minds of the fans of Tanduay, will they snap out of their three-game losing slide?
Well, good evening, Pingoy. Good evening, basketball fans. I really believe so, Pingoy. As a matter of fact, earlier I thought I was going to predict Tanduay to win today, not because they're up by 8 points at the moment, but I really feel for Tanduay that's too long a losing streak, 3 games. They're the Open Conference champion, and they've got pride. This Tanduay Ball Club. Anyway, let's brief them the starting fives. Magnolia still intact. Reyes, Almario, Calma, Graves, and Gidabin. Tanduay started with Torrente, Fernandez, Esguerra, Israel, Watson. Torrente is not on court now. He has 2 personal fouls, and Onchi de la Cruz has replaced him. So a foul by Steve Watson on Graves, and Graves will troop to the line for 2, partner.
Well, Waki, time is at 5:37 here in the first quarter. At the moment, the score standing 18-10 in favor of an 8-point lead being enjoyed by Tanduay Rum Makers. However, they are now playing with 16 fouls because they've been defending ruggedly, and they're coming out flat out to win this ball game.
Right. Maybe we should tell the viewing public now that Willie Generalao will not see action for Tanduay. He's down with the flu, so that's going to give the backward chores to Onchi de la Cruz and Tony Torrente. Tony's got 2 personal fouls.
In the meanwhile, coming off the bench is Victor Sanchez. He's trying to recover from injury of Achilles heel. That's very painful, and keeping a close eye on him. He is not running awkwardly, unlike the first time that he took to the court. The players in the court for Magnolia Ice Cream: Reyes, Almario, Calma, Graves, and Kidaben. Now, there have been only 2 players from Magnolia who have scored so far. Top scoring is Kidaben with 8, and then Calma. Of course, 2 from the line is Graves. While on the other hand, for Tanduay Rum Makers, top scoring is Mon Fernandez with 8 points, Esquerra with 4, De La Cruz 4, Torrente, when he was on the floor, 2 points and a basket from Padim Israel, who looks kind of trimmer this afternoon. A jump shot.
Right.
They go to Almario on the outside. Ball movement coming from the Ice Cream Makers. Side shot coming from Kidaben. Israel, outlet now going to De La Cruz, looking upstairs. Victor Sanchez was covered with a smaller man, but there was cover on the other hand, Calma, but from the outside you get a hit coming from Esquerra.
Right, and we see a very sharp Tanduay Ball Club in today's encounter. You can see better ball movement, better assisting by the players, unlike the previous games, wherein it was only, I think, Mon Fernandez that was really doing the scoring, rebounding, and assisting. Now we can see better ball distribution in that club.
You know, for Tanduay, we had the occasion to talk to the team manager, Sonny Reyes, and he said that everything is okay internally. By the way, Kui checking in for the first time in for Almario, and on his feet is the coach, Norman Black, giving some instructions to Calma. Therefore, forget all of those innuendos that there is no management support, because according to manager Reyes, the management of Tanduay is extending full support as always. And they must win.
Right. That's good for the Tanduay fans. Well, actually, I feel it was just that they had a bit of adjustment to do, because in that open conference, they really went to David Thirdkill a lot and to Mon Fernandez. So now all 5 players will have to contribute.
Well, as a matter of fact, some of the fans of Tanduay were saying, could it be that the Open Conference Championship hangover? Could that be the reason? But they should be able to get over that as soon as possible, because right now they're standing. Here is the defending champion with an 0-3 performance.
Right. First team foul for Magnolia. That was the first personal of Abed Kidaben. We've got a timeout. We'll be back.
Juan Fernandez coming up with a split off a foul called against Kidaben. And by the way, that's why Rum Makers, playing aggressive defense, is now in penalty situation. We at the corner looking for an opening. Drive and draw going to Graves, who completes the play.
Right, that was one of the few times Magnolia got away with that, because inside that paint, Tanduay is double teaming but they were able to give that assist pass.
What a slide by the best in the land, Mon Fernandez. It's just like having an import there amongst the locals. And speaking of Magnolia, while the intensity now is in the up level of Tanduay, I am sure, partner, that Magnolia Ice Cream would like to improve their performance, which is right now on a 1-2 slate.
Well, like what I was saying earlier, these two teams are most affected by the absence of their respective imports. Remember, Norman Black was the one they were going to, the leader on court, just like David Thirdkill. Of course, when you think of Mon Fernandez, that could be their leader there. That's where Magnolia is lacking, I feel. They don't, Hek Kalma and Abet Kidaben have not really come up to par as far as leadership is concerned for the respective team.
Well, being the most experienced, you would want to look up to Abid Kidaben, and I think he's got a character to be able to extend that leadership. Well, one of the best things that has happened to Kidaben was that when he was called the other day to the office of the Deputy Commissioner, Attorney Rudy Salud, because he was ejected in the last game. And they had a very nice chat, and Abid Kidaben was summoned in that office, and it came out saying, okay, I will now be a pro. And he came out with only a 300 peso fine. He's got to have control of himself and discard the tirades and the verbal abuse towards the officials. The officials, you know, are there to make you play your very best.
Right, to make certain, yeah, they keep things under control. Anyway, Mon Fernandez is really burning at this stage. He has 13 points and about 4 rebounds.
Aside from that, partner, 1 shot block. Our time, 2 minutes and 33. By the way, good ankle support and ample traction is a must when it comes to basketball shoes. That's why Cagers choose Grosby rubber shoes, the official basketball shoes of the PBA.
Freddy Hubalde is coming into the ball game for Ito Esguerra, and Hubalde is averaging 15 points a game plus 2 rebounds and 2 assists.
By the way, here in Game 1, our officials are Messrs. Ledesma, Besabe, and June Salak.
I recall that game against Ginebra San Miguel where Magnolia won. Every time Ginebra was threatening, they went to a full court press, a man-to-man press, which did them very well. Now, I don't know. They might use it against Tanduay. They're behind by 11 points now.
Well, here is Abed Kidaben at the line. And Abed Kidaben, during the past 3 games, has been averaging 39 minutes of playing time. And he is the most fouled player amongst the squad of the Magnolia Ice Cream Makers, making 26 attempts, converting 24. Hey, that's a pretty high percentage, partner.
Right, from the line, Abed's very sharp, 24 out of 26, 92%. You know, going into this game, Magnolia had more players contributing to scoring and rebounding, about 6 players, while Tanduay only had about 4. But right now, Tanduay is playing with a lot of teamwork, a lot of teammanship.
Well, unlike their previous 3 losing games, you could feel the high level of intensity that they're playing. And Tanduay knows that their back's against the wall, and Mon Fernandez, the leader, is showing the way.
Unstoppable Mon. We're only in the first quarter of play, and I think he's got 15 points now.
He's got 17,
Or
Joaquin.
How about that? Well, I'm sure Mon is not really thinking of the most valuable player award. He's probably thinking of his team, but then why not if he can get the championship and win the award at the same time?
Yes, Mon Fernandez at 28 points averaging and 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks per game. But you know, amongst the top 5 in the MVP running, it is the Quick Brown Fox who is number 1. Ricardo Brown with 2,382 points, of course, followed by Mon Fernandez at 2,173. The third man is the rookie, Alan Kaidik, with 1,990. Philip Cesar is there at number 4, 1,967. And number 5 is Abed Kidaben with 1,921 points. The foul is going to go against Sanchez with 1:17 here in the first quarter. Score standing 32-21 for Tanduay Rum Makers. Pomaren makes his first appearance for Calma.
Going back to those statistical points, I feel Ricardo Brown has the edge, or had the edge in the first conference open over Ramon Fernandez, because it was David Thirdkill doing most of the scoring and rebounding for Tanduay. Unlike Great Taste Coffee, it was a more balanced squad wherein Ricky Brown really stood out.
And you know, prior to the championship series of the Open, there were statistics that showed that against Tanduay, Ricardo Brown was just averaging about 18 points per game. And then he showed them, and he was slashing the courts with 33s and 30s and 29s.
Right.
That is the quality of Ricardo Brown. Down to 57 seconds to go. We're in the first quarter. And that should have a pleasing look. But you know,
Yeah.
shooting
No
when it's
smile
on-
yet.
Oh,
No
he's
smile.
always intense.
He's all business there. Well, he's saying this on the first quarter after all. And it seems Tanduay, they did get into foul trouble with about 5 minutes to go, but Magnolia didn't cash in on that.
But Magnolia is playing with 3 team fouls. Sanchez, 67% from the free throw line, has played 2 games here in the All-Filipino Conference, and because of injury, averaged 9 minutes of playing time. Abed Kidabe looking for room, lost the handle, knocked away from him by Tanduay, either Juan Fernandez or Victor Sanchez.
Yes, and you saw the way Vic Sanchez helped out Juan Fernandez there. So that lane is being clogged by the run makers, and Magnolia, they have to take their outside shots. In that instance, Abed connected.
Tremendous concentration coming from Kidaben. He's got 14 points now, pulling down 3 defensive rebounds.
So it's both Gidabin and Fernandez doing their jobs for their respective teams.
Trying to disengage from Cui. He will turn around. Victor Sanchez puts it up.
Nice boxing out by Ricky Cui there.
Arencio will go to the line. Checked in a few seconds back. 21 seconds to go here in the first quarter.
So it seems at this stage, Norman Black wants to quicken the tempo for his team. He's got 2 point guards there, Harencio and Franz Pumaren.
A little while ago, Tanduay Rum Makers trying to sustain a tear. Their biggest lead, they enjoyed 11 points when the score stood at 32-21. Harencio could also be an X factor for Magnolia Ice Cream. Very steady, very aggressive. He's got a good shooting hand. He showed that during one of the important series during the recently concluded Open Conference. 9 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Juan Fernandez aware of the time. Like to see him apply that hook shot. No, he's being trapped and run out of time. Good help by Arencio.
Good defense by Magnolia.